We're sure, but we aren't sure. It's safe now, but don't touch anything. We're sure they're Russian, but we don't know who they are. Contradictions everywhere.
Based on a body of intelligence, the government has concluded that the two individuals named by the police and CPS are officers from the Russian Military Intelligence Service, also known as the GRU.
I haven't got any idea as to whether they are actually serving officers in Russian intelligence agencies.
So we have significant lines of inquiry about who they may be. We want people to come forward and give us the evidence.
You'd think they would have to know who these two suspects are before accusing them of being Russian military intelligence agents, but no. Instead, they're asking the public for help to identify these two men, who Theresa May already seems to know.
This was not a rogue operation. It was almost certainly also approved outside the GRU at a senior level of the Russian state.
It'd be real easy if they just called up the Russians and asked them with passport numbers and everything, but they aren't on speaking terms.
I can confirm that we have had no cooperation from the Russian government.
On the other hand, how do you complain that someone isn't being helpful when you refuse to pick up the phone?
We have not worked with the Russian state on this investigation at any point or responded to their requests.
The British envoy said that the UK side will not present any materials. London also refused to present any other information about the case: passport numbers, patronymics, data from the visa application, and so on. We understand that they will be transmitted via Interpol.
So here we are, the British refusing to so much as acknowledge the Russians, and Moscow in turn refusing to budge until the Brits respond to certain questions. Look, the Russians have asked for fingerprints, harmless, right, of the two suspects. The British say they'll hand over nothing, and then complain that the Russians aren't being helpful. Contradictions.
Despite the meticulous and painstaking searches, and although unlikely, it is impossible to guarantee that there are no other materials present in the Salisbury area.
All the experts advise that the evidence to date does not suggest any long-term health risk from short-term or one-off contact with low levels of this agent.
So which is it? Might be a tad confusing for locals in Salisbury. Everything's fine and safe, but it isn't. So don't pick anything up and keep an eye out. Is it over or not? And then, of course, there's the huge gaps in the investigation.
We don't yet know whether suspects disposed of the Novichok that they used to attack the Skripal's front door, or where Dawn and Charlie got the bottle that poisoned them. Or is it the same bottle that has been used in both poisonings?
They don't seem to know what happened to the container. For months and months, they're now asking the public for help to identify these suspects, who they've already identified as secret agents of the disciplined GRU, and to explain what happened to the nerve agent container, which the said disciplined secret agents just seem to throw away for ease of identification. Doesn't seem very professional. One of the deadliest substances known to man ended up in a charity bin.
Suddenly, after 6 months, we were told this is how the poison came into the country in a perfume bottle. Why could we not have been told that before? Why wasn't that put out in an alert? It would stop these two people picking up a perfume bottle with the poison in it, one of them dying as a consequence. Why are we not being told? Why have we not been told the full extent of what the danger might be in Salisbury? And that's still not been resolved. The poor people there are still suffering. So, as I say, I think there's a lot of questioning, a lot of suspicion about this in Britain.
And to top all that off, the British insist it could only have been the Russians. First, they said that only Russia manufactured Novichoks, and then that fell through. And the Russians pointed out a dozen other countries capable of doing so. Czech Republic admitted they had synthesized small quantities for defense. Britain's own chemical lab, Porton Down, admitted it had micro stockpiles. Contradictions everywhere.